You're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Contrary to some assertions made recently, the Dawes Act and the subsequent allotment policy of the United States, which robbed sovereign tribal nations of their ancestral lands, was and has always been racist and misguided. The allotment era was a disaster for Indian country and has caused significant and lasting hardships on these communities. Its legacy is very clear. Over 90 million acres passed out of Indian control, the lowest educational attainment of any population, and untold historical trauma still being felt today. Recognizing the failures of allotment, Congress passed the Indian Reorganization Act in 1934, which explicitly authorized the Secretary of the Interior to take land into trust on behalf of tribes in order to provide them with a land base for their people and their economies. However, in the past few hearings in this subcommittee, we have heard some disconcerting claims regarding the alleged lack of legal or constitutional authority of the Secretary of Interior to take them into trust on behalf of tribal nations. It seems that it has also become common practice to air intertribal disagreements during these hearings. Divide and conquer has been the business of this subcommittee. There are a lot of problems in Indian country that this committee needs to address. Among those problems include a lack of economic opportunity, some of the highest suicide rates in the nation among Native youth, and inadequate access to accessible, high-quality health care. I would also add that we need to look into reasonable reforms to the land acquisition process as it relates to off-reservation gaming. These are the issues that we should be focusing on, and I hope that we can soon make real progress. Mr. Washburn, can you expand on the impact that carceral decision has had on tribes, especially their effort to pursue projects beyond gaming, like housing for elders, community centers for the youth, and other opportunities?
Yes, madam, I'd be happy to. And I will tell you that Mr. Noka's tribe, the Narragansett tribe, is probably the best example. There are some partially built homes at the Narragansett tribe that are sitting empty, and that's a community that needs housing, and they are just sitting empty because they were stopped in their tracks by the Kacheri decision. And it's really mortifying that there are, homes that have been built that are sitting empty when there are needs for elders to have housing because of this Supreme Court decision. And this Congress can fix that, and it should fix that. Thank you.
Regarding the land into trust process, can you explain in more detail how local governments and the public can weigh in on the impacts of their communities?
Absolutely. We actually actively seek their input whenever we get a land into trust application. We provide them notice. We provide the state and local governments notice when the application is complete and ask for their input. And we look at their input. And frankly, often they are very supportive because, often land into trust is for economic development or other needs that serve the same constituents that the city or the county serves.
Right.
So often they are very supportive. And in fact, far less than 10% of our land into trust applications are ever appealed. They don't take us to court. They raise their objections, and sometimes agreements are hammered out between the city or the county and the tribe. And usually they have a very good relationship based on an agreement to provide services or provide police services or those sorts of things. So there's actually a lot of cooperation. In
2013, you added additional notice. Can you tell me or explain to me what those additional notices include?
Yes, ma'am. They include, in part, what we did was we required publication in the newspaper. So we specifically notify the state and the local governments, but we also thought it would be good just to let other members of the public know, because sometimes other members of the public have interest or concerns, and so we put a requirement for publication in the newspaper. We also created a system where people can write into us if they've got a concern, and we will give them specific notice. If they've made themselves known as an interested party, we will let them know when a decision has been made, so if they would like to seek to challenge it, they may do so.
Time is up.
Thank you.
I just want to assure the lady this committee never divides and conquers. And whoever wrote that testimony, I want to talk to them a little later on. Well, you did a good job of slamming the chairman.
I'd be happy to come to your office.
Why don't you, instead of taking a shot at me in the committee?
You're the one taking a shot at people in the audience. Are you acting like you're shooting at me?
No, not you. I'm saying that's good.